Welcome to Life, Lessons, and Laughter with your host, Glenn Ambrose.
Hey, what's happening? How is everybody today? I am just looking at the feedback that I've been receiving for tonight's topic. Yeah, good stuff today. Good stuff already. Sometimes I like doing that, just throwing a question out there and getting people's input. And today I get some really good input. I mean, as far as like, I always get good input, but I got really good input as far as clarity on outlook. It was just very specific, very clear, and very helpful with the feedback that I got today. So thank you guys. Thank you guys for that. Let's hop on some comments here and see who's on and see who's saying hi and where you're watching from. So today, how am I going to walk into this subject? Unity versus division. Well, you know, I think this is how I'm going to walk into it. I was thinking the other day, and I made a little note to myself about the division that's been occurring, in the last 4 years, 6 years, whatever. Let's see. And yeah, we have seen controversy and conflict, just stirred over and over and over. And, some people are going in the direction that this is all planned, and it's part of either a government conspiracy, a media conspiracy, a conspiracy of the top 4 or 5 families in the world that control everything. I saw Russell Brand do I just saw the beginning of his podcast. I didn't watch the whole thing, but he kind of shot through a list of I believe what it was monetary value, a list of monetary values, and it was just scrolling quickly, so I couldn't see who had what. That wasn't the point. The point was that there are countries and there are companies all on this list of people who have the most money and control. And so the point is that there are businesses that have more money and more control than countries. So this is the that's one aspect. There's people. It doesn't matter. Is my point. It doesn't matter if the controversy is planned, if it's incited. It doesn't really matter. It just matters that there's controversy. There's 3 steps to solving every problem. First, we have to identify what the problem is. Then we identify what the solution is, and then we implement the solution. And this is the stuff that it seems that we're not doing. Okay. So but it doesn't matter necessarily where it's coming from, not yet anyway. It's just that there's conflict, right? And we've seen it between political parties. There's always been controversy there, but at levels that we've never seen before. We've seen it with neighbors versus neighbors through COVID. black and white through race issues, women versus men with the Roe versus Wade thing. That is the latest biggest thing that's going on. So we have all this controversy, and what I'm seeing is it's just we're stuck in divisiveness, which is wonderful, whether it's planned or whether it's not planned. It's wonderful for the powers that be, because the governments can do whatever they want and we don't go after them. We just go after each other, which I'll get into more. And then all the money is like with money and power is just funneling upward. I mean, there was always a ridiculous amount of money and power that was controlled by a ridiculously small amount of people, right? Like 10 years ago, it was ridiculous. It was just, way out of where it should be. Right. And then now, if you look at what's happened just since COVID started, just in the last like 2-3 years, the dramatic shift of wealth and power to the elite it took what was ridiculous and brought it into the stratosphere of it's not even fathomable that we as people are allowing them to do it to us. Excuse me. So we're losing. We're just, all our money is being taken. All our freedoms are being taken. It's just one after another. They're just taking everything. And that, like, if there are people that are doing this like intelligently and specifically, and it's planned, they got to be laughing. They have to be, because others are doing it and we are fighting amongst each other. And 90% of the fighting, I shouldn't put a percentage on it, a lot of the fighting is actually happening between people that are on the same side. This is it's hard to imagine, but it's true. This is what's happening. And this is why I wanted to do this podcast, because like we have to slow down at some point and just look at what's happening. Like, in a grand scheme, just in a logical, understanding way. We just have to look at it like that for a moment. And then we can start deciding what side we're on, or what we're going to do, or what we think is right from there. But this is not what's occurring. Everybody's just making an opinion. Just, no, this is wrong. Well, this is right. And they're to blame. Like, well, why would you even say that? Like, why? This was one of the things I tried pointing out with the Roe versus Wade thing, last week, is because like I've seen probably 3/4 of the memes and the social media comments out there are basically saying in one way, shape, or form that men are the problem. And I don't understand where this is coming from. I don't like why? Because I have a penis, then I'm part of the problem. I'm incapable of bearing a child, so I'm part of the problem. I don't have the I don't have the capacity to understand that women should have freedom of choice. Like I can't understand that because I have a penis. I don't understand why. Why are men being attacked? Men didn't take your rights. Men, the government did. Why aren't you attacking the Supreme Court? Like they're the ones that just ruled on it. No, why? Because the memes sound clever. People are acting out of anger and they're just reacting. And this is what we're doing. And we've done it in everything that I've mentioned, and we do it in everything else. So it's not just this. It's just this is, right on the forefront right now. And I personally think it's a really good example, because like there is a woman on the Supreme Court that voted for this. I have not seen one comment about her. Not one comment about her. A woman on the Supreme Court that voted for this. Not one comment. Instead, we have people. I'll get into that aspect later. Instead, we have just people attacking all kinds of people for reasons that don't make sense and are saying things that don't make sense. So let's see. I'm just looking for a name because I know this name. Okay, but there it is. I knew this name, but I'm kind of my brain doesn't switch back and forth between like flow and facts. So sometimes I need a little help. So Clarence Thomas, I was looking this up. My understanding is, from what I looked into, is Clarence Thomas is not only did he vote for overturning Roe versus Wade, but he also said that this is a good time to re-examine the ruling on everybody having the right to contraception. Well, if you're looking into reviewing that and the way it is everybody gets contraception, I'm assuming his stand is to get rid of that. So people not everybody has access to contraception. And also with gay marriage and I believe gay sexual activities. He wants to bring all these up. Haven't heard a peep. He publicly said this. Haven't heard a peep. Instead, what I'm hearing is that we should mandate vasectomies. And so here's a little bit about me. Maybe this, and I'm gonna say this to hopefully, maybe if people are open to it, bond a little bit and maybe understand where I'm coming from. So, right now, and I'm going to get into other things, but right now we're talking about the very sensitive topic of abortion. Well, I have contributed to a pregnancy twice that ended in abortion, twice in my life. I didn't take them lightly. I thought about them to the best of my ability with the brain and the emotional perspective and abilities that I had at the young age that these occurred. And ultimately, both times I left it up to the woman to make the choice and said I would support her either way. If she decided to have it, I would be there and support her in that way. If she decided to have the abortion, I would be there and support her in that way. That is what I told them. And they didn't take it lightly either. So, that's, so I've been in these situations twice. So if you want to judge me for that, then feel free. The other thing about me is when my son was 12, I had been contemplating not wanting to have more children for a while. And by the time he turned 12, my rationale said, yeah, sure that I don't want to have children. If I meet somebody that does at this point, I'm thinking that it would probably be, maybe a couple of years before I got to know them and we're in this relationship, because I was single at the time. I got to know them and we're in a relationship where I felt stable enough to change my mind and have a child, which takes another year. Now all of a sudden you're looking at my son not being 12, almost 13. Now you're looking at my son being 16, whereas, he's going to graduate high school and move on with his life around 17 or 18. And then I'm going to be starting over. And I personally decided, no, that I don't want to do that. So I was single. I wasn't dating anybody at the time. I looked into my insurance. I found out, I think I had to pay like $600-700 or something. And I didn't have a lot of money. But anyway, regardless, I decided to do it while I had the insurance and while I was sure of this decision. So I get a vasectomy. As a single man, I actually started dating somebody right before I had the surgery. It was already booked and everything. But I was like, hey, I gotta have a procedure done like in a couple days. Which was an interesting conversation when you just started dating somebody, But she, it was received very favorably, actually with great surprise, which I didn't. I looked into it because was it the right thing for me? And it was. I felt, and I still feel that way. So I did it. She was very surprised. Like, nobody talked you into this. No girlfriend talked you into it. No spouse. No. There's no pressure. There's no medical reason. There's no nothing. I'm like, no, I just have decided that I don't want children anymore. And I think that this is the best way to make sure of that. So I did. And like I said, I'm glad I did. So this is my personal experiences around this topic. And I'm going to pause for a moment. Hey, Tim, thanks for tuning in again. Western Mass, man. Are you out near the Berkshires? I used to go to Kripalu when I lived up there. Saw Michael Bernard Beckwith there, and what a beautiful place that is. Hey, Raina. Good to see you in Dallas. So I've had my own personal experiences, and I take this very seriously. And it's what I'm seeing is the divisiveness, like I said, like all the topics have had their own version of this, but this one, I think maybe because I know more about it, or who knows. I think it's a little bit more rich with examples for us to use on this topic. But I believe that we can use this with the Black Lives Matters and all the other things I mentioned and more. Hey, very close to Berkshires. Sweet, Tim. Yeah. So this is what caught my attention, and I started seeing the divisiveness in this, because it's like, okay, what we're not doing as a community is slowing down and taking this stuff seriously. Okay, I'm gonna get into I believe this is my intention, to get off that specific topic a little bit and talk about the divisiveness and how it develops. So like what happens is we are so reactionary in life, and we're so inundated with information. We think we know everything about everything. And we've thought about things in passing here and there enough to form some sort of opinion. And we think that they're actually thought out decisions, which most of the time, quite honestly, they're not. And they certainly most often don't consider the other person's perspective. Like you're not actually putting yourself in their shoes. You're just standing outside judging them, going, if I was them, I wouldn't do that. Like, well, you don't know. You haven't walked in their shoes. You're not in their situation. You don't know what's going on inside of them, or what happened when this occurred, or what has happened since. You don't know any of that, but yet you can determine what they should or should not do. That's called being prejudiced. That's prejudging. You don't have the information necessary to make judgments on other people's lives that you don't even know. You don't have the ability to do that because you don't have the information necessary to make that judgment. It's not as simple as like, oh, they got pregnant, so it's their fault. And if they choose an abortion, they're an idiot. It's not that simple. And, fortunately, people have said, the aspects of rape and stuff like that. But that's just one aspect. Like the most extreme, horrible situations. Yes, we do need to take those into consideration. But it's gray. Life is gray, man. It's not black and white. Like there's a long walk between here and here. you know? Like, I mean, like I said, I went through I was involved with 2 pregnancies that ended up in abortions, and I had a vasectomy. I think my experience gives me at least as much of a right to have an informed opinion as some woman that got pregnant and had a baby. Oh, you got pregnant and had a baby. So now you know what goes on inside of every other woman that gets pregnant and had a baby. Like you know how their father used to come into their room and rape them when they were 5. You're familiar with that, and you've taken that into consideration. And then how they've had a string of abusive boyfriends because of that, and how they have no self-esteem, and how the only way that they can take care of the children that they do have is to stay in a relationship with another abusive guy that that pays their bills. Like you've thought about this, you've dissected it, you've spoken with them, you've gotten a fair understanding about how they feel, what they're going through, and where their head's at, and they should make the same decision as you, because you married your high school sweetheart, and you both have jobs and you get along pretty well. You bought a house and now you're going to fill it with children, and you think that your situation is the same as hers because you have a vagina. Wrong. That's not an accurate assessment. That is just a reaction. That doesn't take 99% of the information necessary to make your decision. It doesn't take it into consideration. It just says, screw it, I don't prefer. And this is what we're doing in all kinds of situations. We're just, this is what I mean. Like, I think this is a good example because the social media is ridiculous. What we're doing is we're throwing ridiculous solutions out there that don't have a snowball's chance of hell in either happening or making sense. And I've commented on a few of them, and it pisses people off. And and it's because they just want to lash out. They're angry and they want to lash out, and they're not thinking clearly. Because any of these solutions, let's what's some of them? Let's ban Viagra because a limp dick is God's will, just like pregnancy. Oh, that's helpful. Yeah, we just had the government overturn a 50-year ruling, and you're going to start making comments about Viagra. And I understand the point. People are telling me, like, they're trying to explain it. Like, I freaking know what you're doing. You don't have to explain it to me. You're trying to make a point that if it was a man thing, then this wouldn't be happening and all that crap. Whatever. That's resistance. All suffering is resistance to what is. The fact is, you're not going to solve a problem by hypothetically throwing situations out there that like, well, if it was this way, then this wouldn't be happening. Well, yeah, but it is this way. So shouldn't we deal with the fact that it is this way? Shouldn't we deal with that? Instead of running around acting like we're intelligent, putting out freaking clever memes that go, yeah, but like we should mandate vasectomies for all boys when they come of age. Seriously? I had a vasectomy. It's not a fun experience. You think that all the parents in the United States are going to march their 14-year-old boys into a hospital or a place or an office and have their balls cut? You think that that's actually going to happen, right? That all the parents are going to take their 14-year-old boys down and have them snipped. And then they go, well, it's because it's reversible. It's not reversible half the time. It's not successfully reversible all the time. Do you know how many lawsuits there would be in freaking 5 years? because you'd snip everybody and then, whatever. 10, 15% of them can't have children. They have it reversed, but now they can't have children. Well, who are they going to blame that on? Whoever made them get the freaking vasectomy, that's who. And they'd be rightfully so, because it's their freaking fault. You can't freaking do that. Who would pay for all these vasectomies? Like, it literally doesn't make sense. If your solution can be like dismantled in a matter of 30 seconds, then it's not well thought out. Okay, we have to start thinking of solutions that are actually well thought out. And I'm not saying that I'm holding the solution. Okay, what I'm doing here with this podcast is I'm trying to explain the difference between divisiveness and unity. So if we understand it, then maybe we can start leaning towards unity, because we're not. We're leaning towards divisiveness, and it's not getting better. It's literally getting worse. We've had more problems. This is probably the most ridiculously divisive situation that I've seen in the last 4 years. I mean, as far as it's not the most divisive. It's the most ridiculously divisive. I've seen some of the most ridiculous comments that have no bearing on anything. It's like, so let's get into the divisiveness. Okay. So the reason that this happens is you have an issue, right? So people get upset and they act out in anger, which is non-thinking. When we are angry, our brain literally shuts down. We go in, when we're angry, our body is trying to push us into fight or flight. So what it does is it takes the blood flow from the brain and other vital organs and starts pushing it to our major muscle groups. So this is scientifically proven that our brain literally does not think well when we're angry. Hence the ridiculous memes that people think they're so clever and they think they're drawing attention. That's another thing I want to touch on. Like, I'm pretty sure that these, half these ridiculous memes out there are, the reasoning behind them is like once I blast them out of the water and show that they're ridiculous on a logical level, people are like, yeah, but we're drumming up attention, we're stirring attention around it. No, not really. Like, everybody knows it happened. It doesn't need attention drawn to it. What does drawing attention to something do? It doesn't change it. I mean, it's a good start. If we started there and then we did something, that'd be cool. But we don't do that. We don't draw attention and then act once we have everybody's attention. We just draw attention for the sake of drawing attention. So half these memes, the ones that are getting shared, they're getting shared because people have literally told me this. Well, you reacted on it, so therefore I'm gonna, that's a win. Like, no, that's the problem with the media, is that they don't give a crap if what they're sharing is true or helpful. What they want is they just want interaction. They want to sell newspapers. They want people to tune into their news channel. So they don't give a crap if it's true, and they don't give a crap if it's helpful. They just want to sell. They just want attention. And this is what's happening on social media. People are posting these stupid memes that are not helpful, and they're going like, well, I'm trying to drum up attention and it got your attention, so it must have worked. What do you need my attention for? Like, I didn't know what happened. I knew what happened. So you don't need my attention. I already know. And so does everybody else in the world. This is the information age. We don't need to get people's attention. What we need to start doing is acting. And then people that are paying attention can hop on board, because the whole world is paying attention. The whole freaking world is paying attention. Other countries are posting pictures of the Statue of Liberty sinking, and we're going, geez, we should drum up attention around this. Huh? Everybody knows what's happening. So I understand, like, when you get pissed off and stuff and you want to just vent. All right, fine, whatever. Share your memes, vent, all that stuff. But as some, don't defend them. Like, I mean, at least have the honesty to say, I'm pissed off and I'm venting, and I know it doesn't make sense, and I know it's not helpful, but I'm just releasing some anger energy. I would completely respect, because that I understand. Like, it's okay to be angry. It's just not okay to think that that's the final destination. I'm angry. Oh, okay. So are you going to allow yourself to feel that anger so it can release? And then maybe your head can get out of fight or flight and you can start thinking normally again. And then maybe you might work towards a solution. This is what we're supposed to be doing. And we're not. We're just, I'm angry. And if anybody says, well, would you like to lean into a solution? Well, you're invalidating my feelings. No, I'm not. Like, being angry isn't the end. That's the beginning. Our emotions are there to trigger us and go, hey, this is something serious. This is something that has more impact on the way you want to live your life than when you drop the ice cube tray. So we're going to send you a blast of emotion that captures your attention and says, wow, this is serious. I should do something about this. And then you can feel that energy, let it pass, and then it'll be gone. And then you can start thinking clearly again. And then you can start moving towards the solution. This is what we're supposed to be doing. But we're getting stuck in the anger. We're just staying there. And so we're not looking towards actual solutions. We're looking for sides, and we're looking to be right. This is why, one of the comments was, I think it was Crystal, if I remember right. She had a good point on this. Not jumping to conclusions about people. Some examples: if you say children shouldn't be taken away from their parents at the border, some people assume that you want open borders. If you say you're pro-choice, some people assume you're okay with murdering babies. These topics are so nuanced and wide, but people tend to just shut down and make assumptions about what people think, feel, believe. We need to open ourselves up to listening and understanding other people's point of view and why they believe what they do on both sides, for us to find a greater common ground and connection between us. Now, do you see how insightful that sounds? Hey, Crystal, there you are now. Yeah. So this is what we're doing. We're picking the most extreme situations. And as soon as somebody says something extreme, we go, see, that's their side. That's how they all believe that. And that's why I don't believe that, because they believe, they believe this. It's like, wait, like that's not what everybody believes. It's not what I believe. That's happened to me many times. And several times specifically where I was debating a topic. I think I was debating something on COVID, like a year or two ago, with a very intelligent person. And he's at one point, and he wasn't the only one that did this. A few people had done this. They started sending me YouTube videos of these extreme people that were saying that there was no such thing as COVID, and like all kinds of just ridiculous stuff that you could blow out of the water. They were on the side that they were looking to get attention. They were looking to get popular because of the COVID thing. And the more extreme stuff they said, the more followers they got, because the people on their side would go, and it's a big YouTube star saying it. And they didn't slow down enough to think that, is what he's saying actually hold any water? But what's ironic is those people are more dangerous to the people on the opposite side, because the people on the opposite side think, they start going, well, see, this guy said a bunch of stupid stuff. It doesn't hold any water. And this is where you're getting your information, Glenn. People like this. And I'm like, whoa. That is not where I'm getting my information. That is not my opinion. And that has nothing to do with what I'm saying. And they generalized and they start telling me what I believe. And they completely disregard everything that I've said. Like I've literally told them exactly what I felt and why I felt that way. And they took everything that I said, they pushed it aside and said, you must be getting your information over here. And this guy's a crackpot. Look how that we can destroy everything that he said. It's like, well, why don't you go over to the things that I said and see if you can destroy those? Because those are my actual opinion. And those you can't destroy. You're going to take some cartoon character on freaking YouTube and because he's not on your side. So then we must be like blood brothers or something and think the same. It's ridiculous, And this is what we're doing. We're locking on to the most extreme versions out there and pretending that is the truth of the other side. Why are we doing that? Is because we are not looking to get along with anybody. So this is how our brain works. All right. The reason that we're divisive is because we're looking to be right. Whether you know it consciously or unconsciously, if you are behaving in any way, shape, or form like this, if you're being divisive, this is what's happening inside of you. Unconsciously, we have goals and we try to achieve those goals. So like unconsciously, I learned, one of the ways I learned this was driving. I didn't know it, but I had created an unconscious goal that I wanted to get from point A to point B as quickly and as efficiently as possible. I didn't even know I created that rule, but I would get angry whenever anybody would impede. And when I started looking into why would I possibly get angry just because I had to touch my brakes for a half a second? Why would that bother me? And it was like, oh my God, unconsciously, I have this goal that if anything happens that impedes my drive from being perfect, then it's going to irritate me. I didn't even know I had this goal. So I changed my goal to, I want to make it from point A to point B peacefully. And then the same thing happened to me and my brain did something different. It went like, instead of getting upset about it, it gave me rationale why I shouldn't get upset about it. And it was the same thing. Last time something happened and my brain said, that's a load of crap. And I got upset. Then the next time the same thing happened to me and it goes, it's fine, Glenn. There's no danger. Everybody's okay. No reason to get upset. You can still stay peaceful. You can still accomplish your goal of staying peaceful. It's cool. This is the same thing. This is a dynamic. This is how our brain works. So if you understand that dynamic, you can start you can see how it plays out in different areas. And it doesn't matter if it's big or small. It does in all of them. So what we're doing is unconsciously, we're trying to feel safe. Let's really get down to it. Everybody wants to feel safe. Most people don't feel safe unless they've chosen an opinion, because if they haven't chosen an opinion yet, then they think that they're in the unknown. They're in that flux. Well, I don't know. And that makes people very uncomfortable and feel unsafe. So, it doesn't have to be that way. This is part of what I teach, like getting to a place where you're very comfortable not knowing. I love that place. But most people, again, it's all unconscious. They don't know that they're doing it, but they want to feel safe. And once their brain, they don't know how to control their brain. So their brain will go, well, what about this? What about this? What about this? Oh my God. Well, what about this side? What about this side? And we are in the information age and it's endless. You can go down rabbit holes on just about anything in the world for decades if you allowed yourself to. And it drives you crazy because you want to stop thinking about it. You want to stop obsessing about it. You want to stop worrying about it. So what you have to do is you have to pick a side. Then that quiets your brain. It's like, oh, okay, I know. Like, this is right. Oh, okay, good. I can stop thinking about it now because this is right. This is my side. And I've got a few things as to why, why this is right. So cool. But we're in the information age. So you're still inundated with it, and you're inundated with other people. And sometimes those people challenge. So then you have to defend, so then that, and it just gets worse and worse. And the longer something goes, the more extreme the sides get from each other. Because why? Because they're constantly defending. It's attack, defend, attack, defend, attack, defend. It's all ego is in control. The ego creates separation. This is what the ego doesn't understand, the concept that we are all one. So what it does is it tries to make you feel safe by feeling that, like, what's going on. You're a good person. And the other side, they have to demonize that because it's only an ego stroke, right? So it's not permanent. It's only temporary, but it does make you feel better. It's not a good way to live because you can never satisfy that. You're always feeding your ego. But what it does is it creates separation. So, and the more separation, the better you are, the better you feel about yourself in an egoic way. So it's not the real way. It's not actual self-love or actual self-esteem. It's pseudo self-love and pseudo self-esteem. You temporarily feel good about yourself, but then it fades because it's an illusion. It's not real. So then you have to be right about something else, or you need to be righter. And they need to be wronger. So why? So you can continue feeling good about yourself because it doesn't last. It's because it's not real. It's not actually self-esteem. It's like filling a hole with imaginary dirt. Like you put a shovel in and you go, oh, okay, I feel better. Oh, wait, there's no dirt in there. Oh, crap. Oh, okay. Put a shovel of dirt in here. There you go. Okay, I feel better. Oh, wait, there's no dirt in there. Oh, okay, I'll take a shovel of dirt here. That's what feeding the ego is like. You never get to a place where you have good self-love or good self-esteem because it's pseudo self-love, pseudo self-esteem that you're playing with. It's not permanent, never stays. It's illusionary. So that is what's happening with the ego, with the divisiveness. So you have to be more right and they have to be more wrong so you can keep that food going. And this is what we're doing. And if you look at the way the brain works, it's looking to be right. You can see that. Why? Because it defends and it attacks. It doesn't discuss. If your brain had the goal of understanding the other side or understanding where people were coming from in depth and understanding the issue and understanding a possible solution that is actionable, that could possibly work, and to understand even what the problem is. Like, if that was your goal, then your brain would work differently. It wouldn't attack, defend, attack, defend, attack, defend, because that doesn't get you what you want. What you want is information. What you want is understanding. Attack and defend doesn't give you that. So if you change the goal inside your head about what you're trying to achieve, your brain will start seeking out different information. Then we can start looking into things. We can start going, oh, okay, so with Roe versus Wade, there's a bunch of people saying that the problem is men don't understand, or we're out of balance. Like, men have been superior in society for thousands of years over women. which is true, by the way, and we're out of balance, and we need to bring that back into balance. Agree 100%. Totally agree with that. Okay. But how are you going to achieve that? Like, this is like, you have to slow down enough and go, okay, how could we achieve this? And you can either try to achieve it through that topic, if you so choose. That's the best way. Like, you could be like, I'm not even going to worry about Roe versus Wade. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go after what I perceive as the bigger problem, that men have been in control over women too much, and it's still out of balance. So I'm going to go after that. Okay, fine. You can go after that, or you can go after specifically the Roe versus Wade. But either one of those, what would be a good way to accomplish that? Like, from what I saw, so I think I took some screenshots like yesterday or something, and I was thinking about this. Like, from what I saw, that with the brief overall research that I did, because that's all it is. It's just brief, like, overview stuff. Here it is. So, and these, I don't believe all this stuff, that you find on the internet. So we're not going to take it literal. We're just going to kind of figure out some ballpark stuff. So basically what this is saying, men's views on legality of abortion from 1975 to 1922. I'll just end up in 1922 where we are now. So 30% of men say that it should be legal under any circumstances. 53% of men say it should be legal only under certain circumstances. Now, what's the women's legality? Women, 38% should say it should be legal under any circumstance. 48% say it should be legal only under certain circumstances. So that's very close, and then there was one more. The other one was men's self-ID on abortion. It says, with respect to the abortion issue, would you consider yourself to be pro-choice or pro-life? 48% say pro-life, 47% say pro-choice. So it's basically even for men. Women, it says 61% pro-choice, 33% pro-life. So that is probably the biggest difference right there, as far as men and women. But if you take a 5 to 10% differential rate, there could be a missing a certain aspect of, these polls aren't right. Basically, like, if you put a 5 to 10%, these are basically some of them are basically even already, but they could fluctuate in either direction. So basically there's not that much differential between these are. And let's just say, even if there isn't, right, just to kind of finish this point, let's take just the men, because this is what this is the point I'm trying to make. So men, 47, 48% say pro-choice or pro-life. So it's basically even. And then men, 30% legal only, abortions legal only under certain situations, and 53% legal under any situations. 50, yeah. So if that's true, which it's interesting, there's actually more men Women, it says here 48% on legality of abortion. Men, 53%. So there's actually, according to this, and it can be fluctuation, according to this, there's actually more men that say that oh no, wait, I got the colors reversed. Let me just double check this. I don't want to. Okay, 48. Well, 48% and 53%. So we're very close on legal under certain circumstances. And then the green is legal under any. Men, that's 30. And women, that's 38. Still, we're in the same ballpark here. This part is so. This is my point. We're in the same ballpark. And even if there was 25% of men and 75% of women and only 25% of men, still, men would be your biggest assets. If you were actually trying to, if you disconnected from the anger for a moment and said, what is my best chance to overturn get Roe versus Wade back? Let's just say that's the topic, or anything else you want to accomplish in this arena. Like women's rights going up. You obviously are going to have a fair amount of women on your side. So the two places that you could get support and unite would be other women. The women that are against you right now, you might be able to switch them over to your side. It's a tough sell because they're already on the other side, but you could attempt to do it if you wanted to, right? But what's the easiest people to get on your side? The people who already agree with you, right? So getting these men that already agree with you on your side and uniting with them and going, look, I'll make up some numbers and I'll pretend that it's even more different than it is, just to make the point. Let's say we have 50% of women that want this to change, right? And then you bring in 30% of men. It's actually more like 50, but let's say we bring in 30% of men. That's a large number of human beings. I don't give a crap if they're men, women, gay, lesbian, transgender. It doesn't matter. The point is you have people on your side. That's uniting. When you unite, you can get stuff done. So how would you get people on your side? What's the most effective way to get people on your side? By ostracizing them? Probably not. By telling them that it's their fault that the Supreme Court made a decision that they had nothing to do with and they don't agree with? Is that the best way to get them to unite with you? No, probably not. Do you see how, if we just came together, it's more, the way people are acting is that they're acting like it's more important to stand up and point the finger at men who had nothing to do with this as a gender. The gender male didn't overturn Roe versus Wade. The Supreme Court did. So going after the gender male, what all you're doing, you're not accomplishing anything. You're not addressing the problem. You're not addressing what happened because they didn't do it. I didn't do it. I'm on your side. And I'm a male. But if you're attacking all males and you're saying you're implying derogatory things about all males, I'm a male. I don't really like that. It doesn't pump me up. How would you like it if if I ran around, started and said, like, who knows this could happen to me next. So let's say the Supreme Court gets some ruling that that all men have to do this, and I go, oh my God, this is women's fault. It's the women's fault. We should outlaw vibrators because that's not fair. And that, like, huh? What does that have to do with the problem? Absolutely nothing. So I would be pissing off a bunch of women that might be willing to stand on my side because they believe like me, right up until the point where I opened my mouth and put them down for no apparent reason and separated us. Do you see? This is why it's so detrimental. I'm not upset because women are attacking me. Like, to be honest with you, I don't really care. I don't, because you have no control over me. You have no control over how happy my happiness is. That comes from within. I don't care. This is one of the reasons why I'm doing this podcast. You can point the finger at me and say I'm sexist and all that crap, and I know it's not true. So I know that I'm on your side. So if you're trying to bash me down to make yourself feel better, even though I'm on your side, that's your shit. It ain't mine. So I don't really care. So you can do that all you want. So I'm not upset because people are bashing men. I'm upset is because you're shooting yourself in the foot. We have an opportunity to come together as human beings and say, this is unfair. And you guys are missing it. And you've been missing it all along. Not just women, everybody. We missed it with the politics. We missed it with the Black Lives Matter. We missed it with freaking taking a knee at the damn football games. We missed it with, you name it. We've had opportunity after opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to stand together over an injustice. We've had opportunities to stand together over an injustice. And instead of doing that, we just sit around pointing the finger at these groups that aren't doing it. We get pissed off about the terminology that is said. This is one of the things that drives me the most crazy is people literally assign meaning to other people's actions. Like, I think the best example of that was kneeling at the football games. They kneel at a football game and before they do that, they go, listen, I just want to let you know, this is not to be disrespectful of the country or the flag or the military. It's not what I'm doing. What I'm doing is I'm trying to draw our attention. I'm trying to use my platform to draw our attention to the fact that there's racism within the police departments and it needs to be looked at because it's out of control. This is what I'm doing. And a bunch of people came along and got pissed off that they were kneeling at football games. And when they said, well, like, no, that like, that's disrespectful to the flag. You go, well, no, I specifically said I'm not disrespecting the flag. I'm not disrespecting our country. Well, that's disrespectful to the military. No, I specifically said this is not to disrupt, just lost the word. Disrespect. This is not to disrespect the military. I specifically stated that. Well, no, it is. It is disrespectful. How can people do that? How can people just determine what my actions mean? Why do they have the right to climb inside of my head and say what you think and what you speak is not true? You don't actually think that way. You don't actually feel the way you say you think and feel. I'll tell you how you think and feel. You are kneeling as an act of disrespect. No, I'm not. I've said I'm not. Yes, you are. Why? Because I think you are. That's why. How did that turn into a fucking argument? how does one person get to go inside of another person and determine why they are doing something? What gives them that right? Like, this is what I mean. Like, and we literally had a national argument over this that went international. It's absurd, people. It doesn't make any sense. It's illogical. Slow the fuck down and pay attention to what your brain is doing. It doesn't make any sense. You're just picking a side and you're rationalizing with shit out of thin air. Oh, it's this way. Why? Because I said so. Yeah, but the other side said that that's not what they're doing. Well, I don't care what they said. It makes me feel right to say that they're wrong. So I'm just going to say that they're wrong. Well, what evidence do you have? Well, none. So I'll just make it up inside my head and say, they said, they think this, and that's wrong. Yeah, but they said they specifically don't think that. Oh, well. Like, do you see the ridiculousness that we're dealing with? And if you don't, you're angry because this is just sheer logic. Like, this isn't rocket science here. So we have to start uniting. Let me just touch on this. Yeah, people do feel helpless, then they lash out. I've noticed that people, people addicted to being correct are often defensive. They'll dismiss others, talk over them, and inadvertently undermine them. How do I address this without sparking their defensiveness? Defensive. Yeah. Well, I mean, to be honest with you, like, part of this answer, it's we have to know who we're talking to. Like most people, if they are, I mean, so I'm going to come at this a different direction. The best way to try to do this is to first put them at ease. And that's a good rule for any conversation, because our whole society is basically attack and defend. It's just heightened when there's tricky issues. So, well, they're not even tricky issues, when there are emotional issues. So the best way is to set other people at ease. So it's to come in and be like, hey, listen, like, I really want to understand you, make it about them, set them at ease so they know that you're not attacking them. And another thing you can do is ask them questions, ask them their opinions, and I want to understand you, oh, well, okay. So what do you mean by that? Well, I've heard it said this way as opposed to this way. I mean, is that just different perspectives? Is there one reason you chose that perspective over this one? Like, you can do stuff like that, So that's one way. But quite honestly, I mean, an aspect of this is, I've said this before, like the ones that are most defensive and divisive, we just gotta let them go. Like, we don't need them, There's the way I phrase it, like in my book, is there's 33% of people who see. There's 33% of people who see when they are shown. And there's 33% of people who don't see, even when they're shown. So, like, most of our problem is that the people who see spend a lot of time arguing with the people who don't see, even when they're shown. And that's a waste of time, because they're not going to see even when they're shown. No matter what you say, they're going to attack. No matter what you say, they're going to get defensive. This is why some of the back and forth I did over the last few days, I didn't even, quite honestly, I didn't spend a lot of time playing that game, because sometimes I just don't have patience for it, and so whatever. I'm just kind of throwing information out there, just to see if they take it, and just to kind of get a feel for the dynamic of what's going on out there. Um, so so I don't always do that. But we have to have more conversations. The people who see need to have more conversations with the people who see when they are shown. Another way, this is just a different way of phrasing the same thing. You have people on one side, let's say, and of course the percentages aren't right, but you have 33% of people that see it one way, you have 33% of people who see it another way, and you have 33% of people that are undivided in the middle. And a lot of times what we do is we jump right over to the other side and we try to convince somebody on one side to get onto our side, and you're probably not going to do that. So it's just, focus on the people that are open and talk with them. And if you're not angry and you're open and you're just expressing like lovingly information, and you kind of watch how you address it with them, like they're going to sense that. Because this is why, like if we do it right, it's so powerful, because there's so much anger that when you bring in love, it feels so good. This world is craving love. So like if we're on one side and and there's people on the other side, and let's say they're angry, the more we act in love, the more people are going to come over to our side. Why? Simply because most things are just different perspectives on the same thing. And what's most important is how they feel, how people feel. If I'm sitting there, most people will choose love over anger. I mean, unless they're addicted to anger, of course. And those people we can just let go. But like if I'm sitting there, if I'm in a room, right, and somebody comes up to me and goes, oh, like, hey, Glenn, isn't that taking a knee like in football games a load of crap, or it's not a load of crap? Let's just say that our perspectives are the same, right? They're saying the same thing that I believe in, but they're really angry about it. And then I have somebody else that's saying the same thing that I believe, and they're really loving. Or they might even not be committed to one side or another, but they're really loving. Like who, and I have a choice after being introduced to both of them, who I'm going to go spend my time with. I'm going to choose the nice person. Not because I disagree with this person. It's just I don't like being around angry people. That's all. It's just that simple, So this is another reason why we need to center ourselves. We need to center ourselves because our brain starts working. And we also need to center ourselves so we can come from love instead of frustration. But Martin Luther King said it well. And Gandhi said stuff like this. And Nelson Mandela said stuff like this. See, we have examples in human history that prove this. And people just dismiss it. And then they stand on this is why like that the NFL thing irritated me so much, is because like it's a complete made up idea that somebody made up in their head. It's not even true. You can't tell what they think and feel. That's completely illusionary. So like, and it became a whole argument, right? And people stood in that firmly and still do, right? Stick their flag into the freaking ground and go, no, they're assholes and this is right. And they will, some of them will freaking die for that, right? And then you have this example of MLK Jr., Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, who actually used love, to the energy of love, not coming from anger, not attacking the other side. Communication, understanding where the other side came from. They use these techniques to incite large social change, right? And also, especially with Gandhi, refusal to adapt, like all these things. And of concrete, literal examples how large social change has taken place, and you bring it up and people go, that's too much work. It's like, huh? It's literal history. Like, we have specific real life examples of how this worked, and you're still refusing to do it. And instead, you want to put out a meme about vasectomies. And do you say you're part of the freaking solution? Come on. Slow down, disconnect from this hatred, disconnect from this anger, so we can start using our heads again, and come up with some viable solutions here. Like, and like I said in the beginning, I don't know the answer, but I'll tell you where to begin, where the problem is. Begin where the problem is. What's the problem? Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade. Really? You don't like that? Maybe you should go after the Supreme Court. Makes sense to me. I don't know why we're going after half the people on the planet that have nothing to do with that particular activity that you're so upset about. If you're upset about that activity, try to change that activity. That's what you do. Like, this is, and how do you do that? I don't know, like that, but you can have actual conversations spawned out of logic, out of just stuff that makes sense, instead of running around like a 4-year-old, just throwing a temper tantrum everywhere and thinking that that's going to change policy. Like, you don't like the policy, so shouldn't you try to be changing the policy? Instead of coming up with clever memes that are going to get a bunch of likes. What, like if you get 1,000 likes, does that mean that you don't have to get an abortion, or that you can get an abortion? I guess. Like, what? How does that solve your problem? It doesn't. It's an ego stroke. And then you get a bunch of other people that are on your side going, yeah, you tell them. Yeah, you tell them. And then they feel more right. And it's like, oh my God, it doesn't even have anything to do with the problem. There's no solution. What are you yahooing and supporting each other about? Being a victim? Clear this stuff away. Just ask yourself some logical questions about the problem. What is the problem? Roe versus Wade. Okay. If you don't like that, what do you think would be a good way to get that changed? Well, political pressure, because it came from a political system, right? Well, who voted to overturn it? Clarence Thomas did. Let's go after him. That woman that I don't know her name on the Supreme Court that voted for it. Let's go after her. The other people that voted for it on the Supreme Court. Let's go after them. They're the ones that did it. Go after them. How? I don't know. At least start conversations with that. At least start a conversation with that. That's how solutions come up. When you have a solution about the actual problem, you do not find solutions by discussing things that have nothing to do with the problem. How would you solve a problem discussing something that has nothing to do with the problem? That doesn't have any control over it. There's no possibility of that fixing the problem, but you're going to discuss that. That's where you're going to put your energy. And you're going to feel like you're on the right side. Okay, good. Go feel that you're on the right side while more of our freedoms get stripped, because we can't slow down, disconnect from the anger for 5 minutes, and start thinking logically about what do I not like here? Okay. Do I know everything about it? Can I understand what's the other side saying? Because I don't believe half the people in the world are assholes. So they must be thinking something different than the way I'm thinking. Maybe I should look into that and explore that, and just so I can understand them better. for, that's one of the things that Nelson Mandela did so well. When he was fighting against, you can get anywhere. Sat in freaking jail for what, 27 years, 29 years or something. Oh, good ground, Nelson. Yeah, he didn't accomplish anything when he was sitting in jail. And when he was angry, but after a while, all of a sudden his anger started shifting and he started opening up and having conversations with his oppressor. Why? To understand where they're coming from, because then you can connect on your commonality. See, we are all more alike than we are different. And this is where unity comes from. We think our preferences are so important. Like, for example, again, this abortion thing. Like, some people are pro-abortion, some people are anti-abortion, right? It's ridiculous because it's not this is not an issue about abortion. This is an issue about freedom of choice. That's what this is. The idea that you think you can tell somebody else what to do in their life is wrong fundamentally. You can't, as long as it doesn't affect somebody else. Like, I mean, if somebody's running around killing other people, well, then they should be stopped from killing other people because it's affecting other people. But if somebody gets an abortion, that's their business. That's their life. And you're not God. And God does not need your help. So if that's your freaking theory, God doesn't need your help. Trust me. God created a whole universe and the planet and all the people and everything that's ever existed or ever will exist. But he needs your help around abortion because he just can't handle it. Like, so he needs you? No, God's fine. Thank you. He can do his job just fine. So like, you don't have the right to tell somebody else how to live. I don't care if you call it religion. This is zero difference from all the millions of people that got killed in religious wars. We're Christian, you're Jewish, let's kill them. And then, now we look back on that and we're like, oh my God, this is horrible. They killed all these Jewish people. Why? Well, because they were non-believers. They weren't really people. They didn't believe what we believe. And what we believe is the most important. So we have to hang on to what we believe, because that's not the most important. Living in harmony is the most important thing. Jesus never went around teaching like, oh, we all have to believe the same thing. We all have to believe everything. And if people don't believe what you believe, kill them. Jesus never said that. If they don't believe the way you believe, then pass laws to make sure they don't live their life the way that they live. Jesus never said that. This religious argument is ridiculous. So, but if you want to believe in it, that's fine. That's fine in it. Just, but I don't understand why you have the right to climb inside somebody else's life and determine what they should or should not do without knowing what their circumstances are, without talking with them, without finding out if they've thought things through, if this is a viable option, So I think to finish up, I figured this podcast was going to go like this, just because it's honestly, sometimes it's tiring. Sometimes I get tired because I have to be involved in society to some degree, because it's my job to try to help. And so, like, I have to see this ridiculousness on a regular basis, and I have to try to give information that hopefully some of you are going to weed through my sarcasm, my frustration, and actually hear the messages. And I know that some of you do that well, because this is why so many of you listen. And thank you for that. Maybe that's a good example of what we need to do in this world is start doing it with me. Understand that sometimes I get frustrated and this stuff to me is ridiculous, because I'm past it. And I have to talk about it sometimes. So like sometimes my frustration comes out. But what I try to do is come back to logical thinking. I don't, even if you disagree with half of it, some of it you can't disagree with, not if you're using your logical brain. It's just logical. And what I mean by that is like we're foundationally, we are human beings. We are not men and women. We are human beings. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. We all want to be heard. We all want to be loved. We all want to be treated with respect. We all want freedom to live our lives the way that we want to live our lives. And if we started there, connecting there, if we just started connecting there, and we didn't throw those out the window if there was something that wasn't our preference. So this is what we're doing. We're choosing preferences over foundational freedoms, which is ridiculous. Because what happens is if you support stripping freedoms because you disagree with something, what's going to happen is you disagree with that, and you'll get what you want in some situations, right? And you'll feel all proud and your ego gets stroked and you're like, yeah, I'm not, abortion is wrong and now nobody can have one and I won and yahoo, yay, our side won. And that's going to last right up until the same government that helped you win your little preference goes against your preference in the next situation. The next situation, you think that maybe you don't have any education, so you want well, no, well, whatever. It doesn't matter what the example is. So let's say for some reason, because of your personal experiences, maybe your children, maybe yourself, whatever, maybe your career choice, you decide that you want national health care. Because, you're drowning in debt because of some medical issues, and you happen to be a personal trainer like I was for many years, and so you didn't have health insurance, because of the situation. I mean, I was subcontracting independent contractors through most of my years, so I didn't have health insurance, so so let's say that that's the case, and you think that there should be national health care, and then all of a sudden, like they get it right, they get it all set, and you can have it, and then all of a sudden, the government comes in and goes, no, we decided that the government can't be involved in healthcare, it's unconstitutional or something, and whatever reasoning they come up with. Of course, the meaning is so they have more money and power, but they use some excuse, and then all of a sudden they swipe away what you want, and you're like, well, wait a minute, man, like that's not fair. How can you get to choose like whether I have health care or not? This isn't a very good example, as you guys can tell, but see, I assume you guys are smart. And I think that more people should do that. Like, I know you guys are intelligent. I know that you guys like understand stuff. I know you guys understand when I'm using a crappy example. This is a crappy example. But my point is that if you strip freedom, you don't have freedom. That's a problem. And you think it's a win because you got your way in this one. It's not, because you lost your freedom. And down the road, something else is going to happen, and you're not going to have your freedom there. You're not going to be able to live your life the way you think you should. Why? Because you voted to give up your freedom. That's why. But it was masked as an issue, so you didn't see it coming. This is the type of stuff that you start seeing when you slow your mind down and start looking at this stuff logically. Who's benefiting? Like, where's the money going? These are all questions that you can start finding. What's the actual solution? How can we come together? You know what? Like, what's the best way? So I think I'll probably wrap it up with this. What's the best way for us to overturn the Roe versus Wade thing? Well, uniting. This is the best way to accomplish anything. And it's something we haven't tried yet. Why? Because we're too busy arguing, acting like it does something, picking a side and standing in it as our country gets worse and worse and worse and worse. And you lose more freedoms and more money, and the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, and you lose more freedoms. And everybody's standing around going, yeah, but I'm right. Okay, well, that and a token gets you on the bus. Congratulations. You're right. We now have no money and we have no freedom, and we're basically screwed. But you won your argument, so congratulations. Very, very happy for you. We have to stay true to, there needs to be something underneath that we can stay true to. And love is kind of too big for everybody right now, but maybe we could understand freedom on an intellectual basis. Like, that's not a real hard concept. Just like, hey, if what somebody does doesn't affect me, then they can do it. As long as it doesn't affect me or my loved ones or society in general, they can do it. And just start there. Just start where we start taking our freedoms, because we are not like that right now. That's not the reality of the world you live in. If you live in the United States and you think you are free, you are out of your fucking mind. You are not free. Just the seatbelt law is a good example of that. But I have to wear a seatbelt or else I have to pay the government money. Why? If I drive into a wall and kill myself, how is that hurting somebody else? Why do I have to be punished by law because I chose not to be safe in your eyes? What, like, and there's lots of little things like this, and they put it all in the name of safety, and everybody goes, oh, okay, it's in the name of safety. So I don't give a crap if it's in the name of safety. What I give a crap about is, do I have freedom of choice in my own life? I don't. Well, then I have a problem with that. So, Raina, thank you. I am making a difference. I appreciate that. I do. Luke, I appreciate you assuming we are smart. Thank you. You make a difference to me. Love is the answer. Love supreme. Thanks. Thank you, Luke. Yeah, love is the ultimate answer. I don't know, and I mean, if your brain can conceive that, cool. If, like, I heard somebody say many years ago that, like, if Jesus came back, he would just sit there and he would be like, oh man, you guys missed it. You guys missed it. I know you guys put in a lot of effort into following my word and creating a religion around it and all this stuff. And I mean, the Vatican's the richest country in the freaking world, isn't it? And then they got to take special. I'm not even going to go off on that. Religion, specifically the Christian religion, has done a lot of good in this world, lots of good. But they missed the point of Jesus's teachings, because Jesus's teachings were love. So this is what I was going to say. Like, if Jesus came back, he'd be like, oh, you guys missed it. It was just love. That's all. Just love. Just love one another. That's it. See, what we do is we let the means, the end justify the means. So we go, well, yeah, but this is really important. So I can lie, cheat, steal, be an asshole, whatever, to accomplish that, because that's really important. No, That's not how it works. We are the sum of our means. If we lie, we are a liar. Not forever, but in that, when we're lying, and if we do it consistently, then yeah, but like, it's all about, I was actually watching some of that Designated Survivor show. I don't know if any of you guys have watched that with Kiefer Sutherland or whatever on Netflix, and they were talking about he pulled this move to like basically bully and blackmail this corporation into doing what they said, and the people were back, the people who work for the president were back behind, and they're like, wow, how would you classify that? And be like, that's a great leader. It's a great leader because he blackmailed somebody that was doing the wrong thing. It's like, no, that's somebody just, and I actually supported the president's ideology in this particular episode here. But when you behave poorly, that's not love. And that's the beginning of the dysfunction and the falling apart of everything. Like we can't say I'm going to be a liar, a cheat, and a thief, so I can accomplish this. I had to deal with that when I went to court for my son. I knew that if I lied, I'm an intelligent person. I could lie really well. And I can manipulate. I was an alcoholic for 20 years. I'm very good at manipulation. So I can lie and manipulate really well. If I wanted to go into a court system and lie and manipulate my way through, I think I could do it pretty easily. So I had to stand on the cusp of that, going like, I think my son is in a dangerous situation and he needs to be living with me. This is just my personal opinion. So like, I had to look at that and go, okay, does the ends justify the means? This is a big end. And if my son doesn't end up living with me, I think the repercussions are going to be enormous and he's going to suffer dramatically more from my perspective. So what did I do? Did I lie, cheat, and steal? No, because that's not who I am. I had to double down on love. I had to double down on love and say, and a power greater than myself, and say, listen, like I put my love and I put my faith and my trust in you. And I'm just banking on that. And I know whatever happens is in my highest good and in my son's highest good, because I trust in love and I trust in the situation. And I had to make sure I believed in that, whether he moved in with me or whether he didn't move in with me. If I just believed, oh, I'm going to hand it over to God and trust in love, but if he doesn't move in with me, then I'm going to be pissed. That's not trust. That's not love. That's trying to manipulate God to getting what you want. So I had to make peace with both sides. If he doesn't live with me, then there must be stuff for us to learn. He's on his own journey. I'm on my journey. And even though I can't see the wisdom in him staying in that house, I'm going to have to trust that there is some that I don't understand and it's coming from God. And if he does move in with me, then yippee-ki-yay. And I made sure my energy was in alignment with that before, because it was love-based. I wasn't trying to manipulate something to get an important result that I wanted. That was probably one of the most important results that I'll ever have in this lifetime. And I still didn't allow my behaviors to change to try to achieve it. And you know what happened? The first day in court, I had no rights, zero. My ex-wife had full custody, full placement. First day of court, my son was lifted out of the house and put into mine and stayed there for the duration while they fought it for another 1.5 years and lost. So he stayed with me permanently. First day, complete overturn. It's insane. That doesn't happen, but it did. you know? Love, 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 love first. The way we act first. We have to put the way we act towards one another. You can't act in anger or hatred and pretend you're a good person, loving, because you're not. If you're acting in anger and hatred, you're an angry, hateful person. That's what an angry, hateful person does. They act out of anger and hate. It's really that simple. Don't rationalize your behavior. If you're acting out of anger and hatred, own it and start to work on something different. Start understanding these concepts and start implementing them to the best of your ability. All right. That's going to do it. This was a super long one. All right. Thank you guys for listening, watching, paying attention, participating. I love you guys. This was awesome. I feel heard. So thank you. All right. You guys be kind to each other, be loving to each other. Like I said, try to find the principles in this. Try to find what I was saying. Understand it and implement it. Not necessarily the way that I said. I say things to kind of shock sometimes and to make a point, stuff like that. I'm passionate. That's what I do. Right. So weed through some of that if you need to. If it resonates with you, then cool. It's, then I'm hammering it and you're loving it. And that's cool. If it's not completely resonating with you, that's just the style. Don't lose the message in the style. Look for the message, and then try to implement that. So, all right. Peace out, Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts.
Looking for more? Check out over 200 episodes of Life Lessons and Laughter, or click the link in the description of this episode to connect with Glenn directly.